everyone, welcome to my channel. If you guys are new, my name's Liz, and for today's video, I'm going to go ahead and take you around my craft room, show you some of the DIY supplies that I'm going to be crafting with. So without further ado, let's get started. Hello everybody, I look a disaster, but I wanted to, have a little tour of my craft room. Let's make some things from stuff that I already got right here. A lot of times I run out to Dollar Tree, try to find the new things that they have, and I thought, you know what? I have a room full of craft supplies and I'm going to use them. So one thing that I really wanted to use was the Berry Sweet Days of Summer. This is the Chocator Club Transfer, the Club Choc Club, that thing, for the month of July, I believe. I placed an order, so I got mine early. So that's what I got. If you want to join Club Couture, that's what it's called. I'll leave that link in the description box. But I'm going to use that. And I was also thinking, I have so many of these planks from the Dollar Tree. I mean, I've got quite the bundle in there. So I thought that that was something that I could use. There are transfers that I've really wanted to use for a long time, like the Farmhouse ones and that Mercantile one I've been wanting to use. That Flower Market one is really fun. There's also a general store one, that one, and I want to use it. So I might do something like that. Let me show you what we're working with, because it's kind of a mess in here. I am going to be upgrading my craft room here soon. I saved my pennies for something special, which I'm really excited about. And so yeah, everything is just kind of a disaster, and I'm excited to have everything all in one place instead of everywhere. I can't even open my door all the way because there's stuff in the way. But a lot of my stuff is in these bins. So I'm gonna go through here, see what I can find and what I want to DIY with, and we'll get into it. For this DIY, I'm going to take 4 of these little wooden planks that you can get from the Dollar Tree. I'm also going to take my Club Couture transfer. This is for July's, I believe. So if you want to be able to get this adorable strawberry transfer, make sure you either sign up now or in the month of July to be able to get it. Club Couture is only $20 a month, and you get the transfer, and you get single packets of paste. And I just think that they're so much fun. It's like Christmas every single month. It's a blast. So I just set this down onto my planks and marked where I wanted these cut, because I didn't want these quite as long. And I just took those out to my garage and cut those down. Now I'm going to use some big popsicle sticks to attach each of my planks together at the back, and I just put those popsicle sticks over the seam and then pressed those nice and tight together, and I just did that for all 3 of those seams. Next, I'm going to take some Waverly chalk paint in white. I did put this just in a different bottle, in a squeezy bottle, because I find squeezy bottles way easier than the big bottles of paint. Is it just me? I don't know. I found these on Amazon. If you're interested, I'll link them down below because they are a lifesaver for me. So I just roughly painted this white. I left a lot of that natural wood showing. And because I am using a Chocator transfer, I'm going to use my surface wax. I get a lot of questions about the surface wax. So just straight from their website, it says that the surface wax protects chalk transfers from raw surfaces and creates a smoother and more even pasting experience. So for surfaces or non-Chocator surfaces, and you can just use a lint-free cloth to apply the surface. So I like it because it does create a very smooth surface, and it's less bleeding in my experience. Whenever I use a surface wax, I definitely get less bleeding from my transfers, especially when I'm using it on like wood or porous type of materials. If it's just on like regular chalkboard, you don't really need to worry about it, but whenever I paint over something, I always like to use the surface wax to help protect it. So that's just my opinion. That's what I like doing. So I just take my surface wax and rub it all over my project. Now I'm going to take this wood veneer that I also got off of Amazon. Any kind of thing that I got online, I'll link it down below. It'll be down there in my description box. Oh, they're all there. So I'm just going to use this as a frame. I have been loving this. I've used it in a ton of my videos lately, and I'm running low. It's getting pretty low. It's going to be time for a new one soon. So I just measure it out to make a frame with it. And the nice thing about this is that there is already like an adhesive on the back. So all you have to do is heat up the adhesive and it will stick to your project. So that's why I like using this, and it's really fun to make frames with. So I'm just going to stain all 4 of my little frame pieces. I'm using a stain from Craft Smart. They no longer make it anymore, but it's in my stash and I want to use it up before it goes bad. I figured, you know, I bought it. I need to use it and I like the look of it. So any stain that you want to use, go ahead and just stain your pieces. Now I am going to use my Chocolate Transfer, the strawberry one. These are so adorable. I'm just obsessed. I'm going to have to use this again at some point because I think these are so cute. So what I'm going to do is I am going to take my transfer off of the backing and I am going to kind of test out the stickiness with it with my hand, see how sticky it is. If it's too sticky, I'll put it on my fuzzing cloth and kind of get that stick off there. This is just going to help it be not too sticky. So I just do this a couple times to get it not so sticky. If your transfer isn't super sticky and you don't feel like it's going to be an issue, then don't worry about fuzzing it. So I'm just going to lay this down onto my surface. Once I get it centered, I'm just going to rub this all on there. Now this was kind of an experiment of sorts. I'm going to use the candy apple and the sage chalk paste. I wanted to try kind of like blending these together, but I was a little too nervous to do it. I should have just gone for it and gone, you know, straight into it and just done it the correct way. I mean, I don't know if there really is a correct way, but I should have just gone for it. Instead, I was just kind of wimpy about it and didn't really go for it. So I wanted this to be like a mixture of the green and the red, some of them green, some of them red, and it kind of worked. This was the very first time that I'd ever done it before, so you'll see in another project I do it again, and the second project turned out way cuter than this one. This one still turned out cute. It's just, you know, it was the first time. It was an experiment. So you can see I'm just kind of blending those 2 colors together in the middle. I should have put the green in other spots as well. But hey, I didn't. And it still turned out really cute. So I'm just using my squeegee, going over the entire thing. And then I'm going to use the chalk paste in Storm. And I am going to go over the words with that chalk paste so that the words are going to be gray, and I think that turned out really cute. And then I'm just gonna peel up my transfer, and I think it turned out really cute. Look at all those cute little strawberries on there. I love it. So after I'm done doing that and my chalk paste has dried, I'm going to lay those frame pieces on top of my sign. So you can see I'm just taking up my heat gun and I am heating that piece up because that is going to activate that glue on the back of these pieces. And then I am just using my little silicone finger cover to cover my finger, and I'm just pressing that down onto my sign, and that's all you got to do to get your frame pieces to stick to your sign, which I think is awesome. Really, really easy. You don't have to worry about hot glue or anything like that. It's already got the glue on it. It's perfect. So now I'm going to take some of this black and white checkered ribbon that I got from Dollar Tree, and I'm going to take 2 pieces and I'm going to hot glue them, one to the top, one to the bottom, kind of where the top frame and the side frames meet. So it's got, you know, an extra little border to it. And I think that the checkered look plus the strawberries, I just think that they look so cute together. So I did that on the top and the bottom, and then I still thought that it was missing something, so I decided to make a bow. I'm just going to take that same ribbon, tie it into a super simple shoelace kind of a bow, and I'm just going to hot glue that right to the top. And then I'm going to take my tails, I dovetailed them, and then I'm going to hot glue them to the side so that it kind of has a little ripple in the tail, so you know, one side's kind of pushed up a little bit. And that is it for this DIY. I think this turned out really, really cute, perfect for summer. I think it's adorable. For this DIY, I'm going to take one of these wood planks that I got from Walmart. It was only, I think, 98 cents, so cheaper than Dollar Tree at this point. And then I'm going to take my homegrown 12 by 12 paper pack that is from my website, moredecalanddecor.com, and it has lots of fun patterns on there and stickers on the back. Super adorable. I'm going to take one of the floral patterns out of there, and I'm going to use my pen to trace that plank out. I'll cut that out and glue it with a glue stick down to my plank. You can use whatever kind of adhesive you want. I choose to use a glue stick. That's just easier for me, and I haven't had any issues with it coming off. So I'm going to put my paper on there. I cut it a little bit too big, so to get the excess paper off the sides, I'm just going to take a piece of sandpaper and just rub and rub and rub on the sides, and that is going to remove any of the excess paper that's on there. Plus it gives you kind of a farmhouse look. Now I'm going to take these on the farm transfers from Dixie Belle. These are my absolute favorite. If you've ever seen any of my videos with them in there, I've also done one with that big barn. It turned out gorgeous. The detail on these is just beautiful. So I'm going to take these 3 chickens, and then I'm also going to take some of this faux leather from the Dollar Tree. I just kind of measure maybe a quarter of the way up, and I'm going to take some of that and cut it out, cut it down to the size that I need it, and then I will apply my chickens before I adhere my faux leather to the plank. So I just put my chickens down where I want them, and I use a popsicle stick, and I just go over the chickens. These are just rub-on transfers, just like you can get from the Dollar Tree, but these ones are super, super detailed and gorgeous. And I just run my popsicle stick over it, peel that top carrier sheet up as I'm going, and that's all you got to do for that. Super, super easy. And then I'm going to take my hot glue, add a little bit to the side of the leather piece, and just hot glue that down to the very bottom. Now I wanted kind of a little transition piece from the paper to the leather piece, so I'm going to take some of this lace ribbon that you can also get from the Dollar Tree, and I'm just going to put that right on top of where the top of that leather piece is, and I'm going to hot glue that down to the back. And that's it for this DIY. Really cute, and I think this is perfect for your farmhouse decor. Okay, this is probably one of my all-time favorite Chalk Couture DIYs that I've ever done. So we are going to make a sign completely out of Dollar Tree supplies. I'm going to take 5 of these larger woods of plank. These are, I believe that these are like 18 inches. And then you're also going to take these 18-inch long wooden pieces. I believe that they're maybe like 2 inches in width, and then maybe like a quarter of an inch thick. And they have those planks of wood, like I said, plus these bigger planks of wood, all at the Dollar Tree. I'm going to put down my transfer just so I can measure where I need to cut these longer planks at, because I don't want my sign this large. So I just lay my transfer down, put the frame pieces on, and then mark with a pen where I need to cut them, take them outside to my miter saw and cut those down. And then I'm going to line those up so that I can measure out the frame pieces. So like I said, these pieces are, I believe, 18 inches long. I have 4 of them, and I'm just laying these out so I can figure out where I need to cut each piece. And I ended up with one of my backing pieces being a little bit too long for the frame. So I'm just going to kind of stick these all together using some big clips that I had, so that I can measure how much of that one plank that I'm going to need to cut off from the top. You can see when I lay that other frame piece down that it's just a little bit too long. So I just take a pen and I just mark where I need to cut it, and I'm going to cut my 2 frame pieces, because the other 2 pieces are totally fine, don't need to cut those, but my top and bottom piece and then that other backing plank needed to be cut. So I just went out to my garage and cut all of those out. Now I'm going to lay all my planks down. I'm going to use large popsicle sticks and some hot glue to attach all these together just at the seams, and when I put my popsicle stick down, I'm going to push really hard to make sure that there are no gaps in between those seams. And then I also use some more popsicle sticks on the side just to kind of give it a little bit more reinforcement. Now I'm going to take my Waverly chalk paint in white, and just kind of like the first project, I'm going to roughly paint this on here. I'm not going to give it one full coat. I wanted some of that natural wood to pop through, so I just did a very rough coat of that paint. Once that's done, again, I'm going to apply my surface wax. You can use the applicator that it comes with. You could use, I'm using a paper towel right here, which probably isn't super great because that paper towel kind of, you know, tears up a little bit. If you have a lint-free cloth, that's perfect, but I just go in circular motions all over my sign and let that sit and dry while I am staining my frame pieces. Again, for my frame pieces, I'm using the Craft Smart stain, but again, they don't have it anymore, so just stain your frame pieces in whatever your favorite stain is. I personally like water-based stains because they don't stink, they don't give me a headache because I get headaches with smells, and that's just what I prefer. I can do it in my craft room without having to worry about the smell. So I'm going to take my transfer. Again, I'm just kind of testing the stickiness, and it needed a little bit of fuzzing on there. So I'm just going to take my fuzzing cloth and put it on top of my transfer because this transfer is fairly large. And I am going to fuzz my transfer a couple times, center it to my sign as best as I possibly can, and rub it all down on there. Now I'm going to take the chalk paste in Storm for the my and my parts of the sign. So for the top one, I'm just going to put that on there. I lift it up so that the chalk paste doesn't dry to the transfer when I'm doing the second portion. So I'm just going to add my chalk paste to it, and for this I'm going to do the pull and dry method, peel and dry method. I don't know exactly what it's called, but I'm going to lift my transfer up, use my heat gun to make sure that that chalk paste is all nice and dry for both of the mides, and then I'm going to lay my transfer back down, smooth it all back down, make sure it's all nice and stuck to it, and then move on to my next section. So for this one, I'm grabbing my chalk paste in Eucalyptus for the roost and the rules, and I'm just going to go over that entire thing for both of them. And again, once I've gotten the chalk paste done on one of them, I'm just going to peel up the transfer a little bit so that it's not covering that anymore. I'm just doing this to make sure that it doesn't dry to my transfer and then it doesn't peel up, which is always a bummer when you have to do it again. So this is easiest for me. I'm just pulling it up, drying my chalk paste, laying it back down, and then I'll go over the words roost. Again, just applying my chalk paste with a squeegee. And then once that's done, I'll peel it up, dry it with my heat gun, and then lay it back down. So for my rooster, I am using the Shimmer Gold and then Candy Apple again. So I'm just taking some of that gold and applying several dabs over my rooster, and then I'm taking that red color and then just going over the entire thing. So I'm just kind of mixing the colors a little bit. I wanted my rooster to have some shimmery gold and then to be red. This turned out so much better than the strawberry one, but even still, I'd probably put even more gold on my rooster so that it was even more shimmery and glorious and gorgeous. So I just applied that, and then I'm just gonna peel it all off, and look how adorable my little rooster turns out. Once you see him all nice and close up, he's gorgeous. So to adhere my frame pieces to my sign, I'm using some wood glue and then just a little bit of hot glue just so that I get that temporary fast hold, and then the wood glue will give me the nice long hold. And I'm going to use these clips to kind of keep them in place while I am putting on the rest of my frame pieces. And I'm just going to do that for all 4 of my frames. Just apply some wood glue. People have recommended the Dollar Tree wood glue. I'm going to go ahead and check that out. I just haven't had a chance to stop by there quite yet. So as soon as I do that, I will pick that up and give it a try. So once you get your frame pieces on there, I set it face down, added a bunch of paint to the back so that the frame was nice and pressed against the sign so I didn't have any gaps. I let that dry for several hours, and that's it for this DIY. So pretty. You wouldn't have guessed that I made this entire sign portion out of Dollar Tree wood, and then you pair it with a really cute Chalkator transfer, and look how adorable this sign turned out. For this DIY, I'm going to take one of these metal baskets that I got from Hobby Lobby. I got this a really long time ago. It's just been sitting in my stash. It was $8.99, and I want to say that I got it on sale when the spring stuff was really on sale, so maybe 50 to 60% off. And then I'm also taking these Dollar Tree rub-on transfers. I'm going to use the Farm Fresh flowers, and I just cut that off from the other transfers. And I'm going to center this and use a popsicle stick to just rub and rub and rub over the entire thing. And then I will peel that plastic carrier sheet off from it just nice and slow to make sure that nothing is peeling up that shouldn't be. Now I'm going to take some ribbon that I got from Hobby Lobby as well. I loved this pink one. It's got the frayed edges. I just think it's absolutely gorgeous. So I just cut off enough so that I could tie it to the side in a knot, and I applied a little bit of hot glue in a couple places, so in the back and on each side by the handles, just to make sure that the ribbon isn't going to slip down and just be absolutely obnoxious. So I just hot glued that down in a couple places, and then I'm going to tie a knot on the side, and I just tied it in a double knot and then cut off the excess ribbon on the knot just to give it, you know, a little bit of a shorter look to it. Now I'm going to take this lace ribbon from the Dollar Tree, and I'm going to hot glue this to the sides of the knot so it's almost looking like it's coming out from underneath the knot on there. And I just hot glued it again in a couple places around so that the ribbon wasn't falling down, and then hot glued it again to the back of the knot on the front. And that's it for this DIY. Add some flowers or greenery to it, and this is how this DIY turned out. For this DIY, I'm going to grab this 12-inch wooden round from the Dollar Tree. I'm going to start by painting it with my Waverly chalk paint in white, and I made sure to get this all nice and covered. I wanted a good one solid coat all over this wood round. Again, I'm going to apply my surface wax because we're going to be using a Chocator transfer on this, and I just go over the entire thing. Make sure that it's all nice and covered. You can set it to the side and let it dry for a little bit and then buff it again, and you know, that's about it. Maybe 30 minutes of drying. And then I'm going to take my tile transfer from Chocator. This one is so pretty. I love it. And I'm going to smooth that onto my surface, and then I'll use the chalk paste in Dune over the entire thing. So just taking my squeegee and then just making sure that I get it all covered with my chalk paste. And you want to make sure that you don't have a ton of just chalk paste globbed all on there. So once you've got it all covered, just give it a once over with your squeegee to scrape up any of that excess chalk paste that may be on there, so that it's not, you know, just absolutely drenched in chalk paste. And that will also help with bleeding, I found. So, and then I will just peel that transfer off, give it a good wash, and look how gorgeous that is. Next, I'm going to take this Meet Me at the Garden Gate sign that came from the Dollar Tree, and I just tried to center that as best as I could. Now, don't be like me and not pay attention to where those holes are at the bottom, because I completely messed up and glued this upside down. So the holes are at the bottom. Just ignore that. Do it the correct way so that you don't have to, you know, glue your rope on the back. You can just take some twine and run it through those holes, and now I have holes at the bottom of my sign. Oh well, that's okay. Still turned out cute. I glued some rope on the back for a hanger, and this is how this DIY turned out. And that's it for today's video. I hope that you guys enjoyed it. Let me know which project was your favorite in the comments down below. Don't forget to subscribe before you guys leave. Give this video a big thumbs up if you enjoyed it, and I will see you in my next one. Bye!